Without Build Our Kids, I would definitely be getting into trouble. Probably would never have graduated high school.
Well, I think everybody's got to find something they love about what they want to do.
25 years ago, we weren't talking about positive youth development. We weren't talking about developmental assets. When we talked about youth, we were talking about problems. We were talking about the remediation, and the language was very different, and the programs were very different. And the Search Institute has had such a huge impact on this field in terms of reframing the way we think about youth development from negative to positive, from problematic to asset-oriented. So it has influenced all of us, and I know it's influenced this community well. So I'm very pleased that I can introduce Kent Pekel. Thank you for being here. We're really honored to have you.
For a long time, we tried focusing on this stuff only with the kind of learning you could measure on a standardized test. But the research is showing that there's a whole array of other skills, many of the ones that those kids talked about in the videos, that matter tremendously to success in school and in life.
Some of the changes I've had to make are definitely organization skills, because before Build Our Kids, I wasn't quite that organized. I just kind of got up and went. But afterwards, I've definitely had to make more of a pinpoint schedule, focusing on what I was going to do.
Those of you who know Search Institute's work, and we were just mentioning it, when you actually take a look at all 40 assets, which is a very large set of factors, some internal to the kid, some external to the kid, the ones that continually correlate very, very highly with good outcomes are relational. In 2009, 2010, we simply asked kids, if an adult gets you, what do they do? What are the things? And if you actually take a look at what they said, they listen to me, they're honest with me, they show up and they're dependable, they remember earlier talks. No, I heard you last time and I care enough to come back and hear how that's going. Is really, really powerful. This is coming up again and again. The young person feels seen as an individual. They're a dynamic mix of both challenge and support.
I've gotten to know my teachers really well, and I can go to them and be like, hey, I don't really know what to do about this, and what do you think would be helpful? And so they're really good about telling me what they think would be best for me, and they're always there, which is nice.
It's mutual. The kid has the sense that that adult is not there because you have to be. You're not there because you're collecting a paycheck or because you don't have some interest in me. You want to interact with me.
In the bank, we had a large popcorn machine. Well, one day we had a couple of high school boys come in, and they got their popcorn. I mean, they'd fill that popcorn up. This was cool. Next day, here they came again. Next day, there was 3 of them. Before long, you had 10 of them. During this whole time, I noticed that the staff was like, those kids are in the popcorn. The group approached me as a manager and said, you need to talk to them when they come in today and tell them that that's for our customers. I looked at them just very quietly, and I said, why? How many of them, that's the only meal they're going to have today? I mean, I don't know, maybe someday they'll grow up, they'll remember this bank giving the popcorn, maybe they'll be a client someday. And that's all I said. It was about time to open. And then the very next day, there were about a dozen bags that were already pre-filled, so when the kids came in, they got their popcorn.
Sometimes developmental relationship can be brief, a few minutes long in an early childhood setting, or can actually be going fishing many times over many years. But there's got to be an alignment between the level of challenge that the relationship is expecting of the young person and the level of support that the relationship is providing.
Well, I ran to be student body president, and we had to make our speeches and go up in front of the whole middle school and just talk, read our speeches, and it was kind of really scary because you didn't know what the people were going to say, and there were 2 other people running against me, and so my friends kind of just helped me through the speech and everything.
So some of the things that you've heard them talking about, some of these are external assets, right? These are things that exist in the system. But you also heard some conversation about internal assets. Running for class president in a middle school as a 7th grader against 8th graders. That takes a lot of moxie. Now, she not only did that, she also won. So
What developmental relationship in your own life helped you become who you are today? And can you remember a developmental type of interaction that made up that relationship?
Grandma was very frugal and very thrifty and always wore a dress. Walking to the subway with her and a cousin one day, all of a sudden, Grandma's underwear fell to the ground. Big pink bloomers. Okay, I don't know if anyone remember this. Big pink baggy bloomers. And Grandma just stepped out, picked them up, shoved them in her purse, and we kept going.
Awesome.
She showed us that no matter what life hands you, whether how embarrassing it is, how stupid it is, or how frustrating or what gets in your way, should not get in your way because there's good stuff ahead.
Perseverance actually has got a very, very strong research base behind it. There have been studies that show that even perseverance habits in little kids can correlate to their SAT scores years later. Perseverance has connected to GPA, and we know that these habits matter for reading and math outcomes as well. Now, some kids persevere because they just inherently love the thing they have to persevere through. And then there are some kids who persevere because, frankly, they just come with batteries included. They're the Energizer Bunny kids. They're just going to make it. But then there's a heck of a lot of other kids for whom pushing that boulder up the hill is a constant struggle. And so that's why we've decided to build a process that focuses on perseverance as a way to build developmental relationships.
One project I'm proud of is putting sprinklers in at Swiftwater because it was a long, hard, hot job to do. But every time I drive by there, I'm always like, I did that.
We're building a process that has 5 stages and a little acronym to at least help me remember them. The first stage is start with sparks. The second is think forward, act now. The third is intelligence grows with effort. The fourth is complete the support card. And the fifth is keep moving through obstacles. Now, the reason there is going to need to be a process to help them find the spark is because our research shows that about half the kids don't have one.
Without Build Our Kids, I would be at home doing nothing, being bored all the time, I guess, and being really impatient.
Sparks matter because the same study found really interesting correlations between kids who self-identify a spark in their life and outcomes like performance in school and grades and having a hopeful sense for the future.
Kids did a volunteer project along the Umpqua Riverbank of taking out the invasive species. And it was great. The kids were there. They were watching the limb walker soaring on the ropes up above, cutting branches off the trees and everything. The kids were eyes were really big, came down and they said, so do you like your job? And they, yeah, I love the job, but I'm going back to community college. And the kids are going, why? I said, well, this job, my knees will only last about 6 years. I'm about 4 years in now. I got to start thinking about my future. And you could just see the switch go on in the kid's head.
The kid has to believe that actually they can change who they are. That in fact, what you are today is not your destiny forever. Over the course of the school year, American teachers will give out more than 100 million report cards. How many of those kids are also being given support cards, where in fact they are identifying the support that they're going to need to succeed on the things we're asking them to do, not just in school, but in life.
You know, in your world, who is supporting you in health? In your world, who is supporting you in mental health? Who is supporting you in school and homework and, spiritual or physical activities? And if it then creates accountability for both the teachers and parents, but also the student.
The research seems to suggest, and what the goal of the process will be, is simply helping them understand that when obstacles hit, you go into problem-solving mode. You go into solutions mode. You don't retrench and shut down to the point where nothing's happening. And again, in the study that I highlighted and others, we're finding that when you teach kids these kind of processes, it has really powerful benefits for their decision making.
And we talked some about becoming a network of networkers, because each of us at our table had multiple resources that we can bring to bear on students and on community events, but we don't always share that very well with one another.
And you see parents walking down the street texting with the kids either behind, in front of them, and you're not seeing any interaction happening in those families. So we thought maybe one way to address that is to kind of go with the flow and send something out in app form or somehow text to families. You could have messages of the day or the week or something and try to get to these younger parents in a different way.
So our goal would be to take a look at what we're learning today, to determine how as a network of networkers that we can actually move this process forward and maintain the momentum that may have begun here today.
My one wish for the youth in my community is that my community would not just push the youth away. Like, they would look at the youth as an asset and be like, okay, you can lead this, or can you do this for us? And instead of just pushing us aside and saying, like, I don't know, just watch us do it.